What's up, Aridity Man back? Welcome to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing another Godzilla -2 news and updates. In order to stay on top of Godzilla -2 news, we gotta keep covering it, but we'll get right back to Supernova stuff ASAP. I'll try and get both all the way caught up here real soon. Today, we will prove that Toho really will merchandise absolutely anything. We'll talk figures, pop-up shops, awards, the English novelization for Godzilla -1, and we will discuss if Godzilla -1 truly is the best Godzilla movie as this new recent nomination would make it seem. Let's talk about it. Big thank you to Jerulerson3081, I think that's how you say your name, for scrunking your way on over to the notifications. I appreciate you getting to one of my recent videos first. Similarly, big shout out to JahitterKilgsYT for getting to my last news and updates first. I appreciate you guys so much. Big thank you to everybody who supports this channel by subscribing and turning the notifications on and getting to my videos early. Similarly, thank you guys all so much for all the support I got on my Godzilla -2 custom theme I just posted. That means so much to me. If you want a shout out, I'll give a shout out to whoever goes on over to that video and leaves the best comment on what they think an alternate title for Godzilla -2 could be, whether it's a subtitle Godzilla -2 : something else, or whether it's a brand new title altogether. Starting out with some artwork like always, this first piece comes to us from Noah Cortez, and this is their Godzilla at the Ginza Waco building. I just think it's fantastic. Godzilla looks wonderful in this image. I always love hand-drawn art, always love it so much. The ink work is incredible. I really love the way you've drawn the Ginza Waco building, and I love that they included the damage that you see on the building in the movie. This piece is just really slick and beautiful. I'd love to have this piece on my wall. This is great. I like that kind of simple artwork. That's the stuff I hang up in the background. Just that really nice black and white style. So great. Pitaku posted this Godzilla attacking this factory image. This is awesome. Obviously, I'm a big fan of toy photography as well. This one's got some crazy stuff going on. This miniature factory looks wonderful. I have no idea what this Godzilla figure is, but his eye looks so much like a 1970s Godzilla eye, the way it's painted. I love to see Godzilla attack some more factories. I love the aesthetic of factories. I love to see them get blown up in Godzilla films. And let's keep that factory love going with this next one, which is T.S. Yamawaki's T-Facto Godzilla diorama. T-Facto is the one I believe who made that Godzilla model. That is an incredible Godzilla model. It looks insanely good. Obviously, Godzilla's destroying a factory, which makes me happy. The red smoke is a super neat touch. The red contrasting with white gives it that like Japanese flag feel. The whole thing is sick. So big shout out. Nicholas Present 1 did this Godzilla -2 custom design, like what they want Godzilla to look like in a sequel or redesign, and I think it looks really great. As far as I can tell, they've extended the length of Godzilla's tail to give him a much more Heisei styled length of the tail, and you guys know if you've seen enough of my videos, I love Godzillas with long tails. I love the Heisei tails. This would be a fantastic length for a Godzilla tail in my opinion. I really like what they've done with Godzilla's spines, giving him basically the King of the Monsters spines. They've amped them up by giving them that multicolor design that everybody always wants. I think it's really cool. I would love to see Godzilla with spines like this in a new movie. If it were me, I would actually make them even longer and bigger. I love the exaggerated proportions, but this is dope. I'm a big fan. A limited time Godzilla collaboration with this cream puff company was announced with this little teaser showing how the cookie was made, except in this case, the cookie is a bunch of cream puffs that they've turned black and covered in chocolate and also put some like chocolate chips on it. They've wrapped them up nicely. I guess you could buy these in like 7-Elevens and all over in convenience stores all over Japan. All of the comments on this were very enthusiastic with people saying they were just delicious. I am an enormous cream puff guy, but these things look a little off-putting just looking at them. They look a little off-putting, I'll say, but they also kind of look delicious. One of them does kind of give that Godzilla vibe with the chocolate chips, kind of looks like his spines. The brown color, it's this black cocoa custard that they made specifically for this collab because they wanted it to be similarly colored to Godzilla's skin, so it's supposed to look like Godzilla's skin. Like I said, Toho really will license Godzilla for absolutely anything. There are new Toy Park ballpoint pens being released that feature Godzilla 54, GMK, Burning Godzilla, and Godzilla -1, and that wasn't the only weird one. Delgard released these apparently incredibly high quality mechanical pencils, once again featuring an array of Godzilla designs, including Godzilla 70th Anniversary, Heisei Godzilla, Godzilla -1, Shin Godzilla. I think those are also 2 Shin Godzillas. Now we've got this one, which is an iced Godzilla neck ring featuring the Godzilla battle line characters. So apparently what this is, it looks like a airplane pillow. It's not, it's a cooling ring. You put it in the freezer. It's basically an ice pack you wear around your neck on hot days, and it slowly sweats out, which actually sounds wonderful because sometimes it be brutally hot outside and I would love something like this to cool me down. You throw Godzilla on anything and people like me will buy it. So there is a market out there, as there must be for this as well. A Godzilla SIM card was announced with stickers for people who bought the SIM card for people traveling to Japan. So for those of you who don't know, if your phone's an older phone, or I don't know, some newer phones might have this as well, you need an international SIM card to be able to actually use it overseas, and so you can go buy a SIM card, and this would be a case where you could get Godzilla on it. I love this little artwork with Shin Godzilla. It looks beautiful. I really like it with Mount Fuji in the background. It's just very pretty. A great aesthetic right there. The Godzilla store Yumeda had an Edwin collab featuring these Godzilla jean bags with Godzilla -1 on them, and they look really nice. They look really high quality. That would actually be really cool to have. For our figures, the Fuji model Chibi Maru Godzilla series announced a Godzilla 2023 assembly figure. This little assembly figure is like a 3D puzzle, but it's done in this chibi art style. I think it is adorable. I would suck at putting that thing together. I've gotten a few 3D puzzles over the years and I have completed 0 of them, none of them. The Bandai Dynamic Posing series Godzilla 2023 was released with this wonderful poster showing off why they posed him the way they did. It is the Godzilla 2023 Bandai poster version. That is sick. I think that is so cool. I have reviewed the Bandai Movie Monster series Godzilla -1. I think it's a fantastic figure. I think this one is super cool. I'm all for the Bandai Dynamic Posing series. Honestly, the only other one that comes to mind is the Godzilla 65 doing the little dance. That is also sick. I don't have that one as much as I would have liked it. It sold out before I could get it, but this is dope. I'm a big fan of Bandai expanding their posing and stuff. Some more Godzilla Shop Tsutaya satellites opened up. So what these are is they are pop-up Godzilla shops that open up all over Japan, and they feature a different variety of Godzilla goods at each one. It's not like each one has unique goods, but they don't all carry this same exact full selection. A lot of them have started to carry lots of plushies, which is sick. They're really expanding the Godzilla plushie market in the past couple years. I really like that as somebody who likes to collect plushies. I think they're very fun, and I really like that they're starting to sell chibi Godzilla plushies, which makes me very happy. I think a permanent Godzilla corner has opened up at the Toho Entertainment Shop in the Hibiya Chantra. The Hibiya Chantra is right in Godzilla Square, if I'm not mistaken. It's a big mall right in that area. We've actually talked about a couple events that have happened there. This is generally where Godzilla Festival happens. It's a big mall, and it's nice that it would have a Godzilla corner there. They, of course, do have a Toho Cinemas in the same area that sells some Godzilla merch, but having a dedicated Godzilla corner would be pretty sick. It's got poster displays, little advertisements for Godzilla the art, and all sorts of stuff. It's pretty dope. A pop-up Godzilla store opened up in the Hiroshima main store. This pop-up Godzilla shop included a big poster, it included lots of figures and merchandise and plushies and shirts. It featured some Godzilla cushions, which are funny, and all sorts of stuff. Like I said, this popped up in the Hiroshima main store, whatever that is. The Godzilla store Diaba opened up. The Godzilla store has been expanding like crazy in the past years. Of course, it started with the Godzilla store Tokyo and then the Godzilla store Osaka, and now there are all sorts, including the Godzilla store Diaba. And this one has a giant Shin Godzilla statue, the old Shin Godzilla statue from 2016. Seeing this thing is like seeing an old friend. I have missed those Shin Godzilla statues. I think they're sick. I would love to visit this one. It has so many Bandai figures on sale, so many X pluses, so much cool stuff. And of course, the best part of being in Japan is that they are all way cheaper than you'd think, and their actual price range around the $10 mark like they're supposed to be. This one also has a giant Godzilla gacha game, which is obviously a big draw and a very popular type of thing in Japan. Godzilla -1's director Takashi Yamazaki won the grand prize Minister of International Affairs and Communications Award at the 30th AMD Awards ceremony. I don't know what that is, but I'm very happy that he's still winning awards and being celebrated for his accomplishments with Godzilla -1. Of course, Godzilla -1 has has become the most mainstream Godzilla movie to come out of Japan, and that's a huge deal. He deserves all these awards, and I'm so excited for the sequel. Speaking of Takashi Yamazaki, it was re-announced that Takashi Yamazaki is moving forward with his first ever English film, Grand Gear, at Sony with J.J. Abrams producing. Not much is known about this at the moment, but what we do know is that he has to finish Godzilla first before working on this project. If I'm not mistaken, I believe this project, this Grand Gear film at Sony, was supposed to be done at the end of 2027, which theoretically means Godzilla -2 will have to come out in 2027 and allow him time to hop on over and work on that movie. Of course, I guess it could come out later. They could always delay it, but when I originally covered it, I believe it was supposed to be in 2027, which gives Yamazaki a whole year to finish up Godzilla -2 and then get to work on that. Of course, the Parasite director Bong Joon-ho released Mickey 17, his first English language film. Takashi Yamazaki is following a similar lead. I would hope Yamazaki's film does a little better at the box office, but I'll say Mickey 17 I thought was a fantastic movie. I thought it was truly great. I'm very excited to see what Yamazaki does. Okay, here's the news. Is Godzilla -1 overrated? This is the moment where it could be. Although I will defend what happened here, but I did see a lot of people get a little annoyed at this. Godzilla -1 ranked the number 19 the best movie of all time on Rotten Tomatoes. So Rotten Tomatoes released a giant list of the top 300 movies, and on that list, -1 ranked the 19th best movie of all time. Top 20? Huge accomplishment for Godzilla. I'm very happy, especially when you remember, like, Godzilla for almost my entire life was remembered as this cheesy, silly little franchise with a bunch of guys in rubber suits knocking over cardboard buildings and wrestling around with each other, and all of a sudden things started to change in 2014, and it took until Godzilla -1 for reals for the world to start putting respect on Toho's Godzilla. Shin Godzilla was a huge stride, but it just didn't have the international splash that Godzilla -1 did. So I will say, first of all, Godzilla -1 will always hold that special place in my heart as being the movie that proved my point that Godzilla is not a silly franchise about dudes in rubber suits knocking over cardboard buildings, and to be honest, it never has been. You're just ignorant if you think that. I will always be happy for -1 for finally legitimizing how I have been talking about the Japanese Godzilla in the mainstream discussion. That's a big deal. Also, it's just a big deal for Godzilla to land on the top 300, let alone the top 20 list. Pretty awesome. Toho even celebrated releasing this poster. It is a revamped version of the Godzilla -1 poster, hyping up the fact that it was ranked the 19th best movie of all time, certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. How did this list work, if you're wondering? Well, it wasn't just a couple guys sat around and decided. In order to qualify, a movie first of all had to have a fresh rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Then it was tested against a recommendation formula which considered the tomato meter rating, which is the critics rating, along with assistance from the popcorn meter rating, which is the audience votes. That way both the critics and audiences had their voices represented in the discussion. Other factors were considered, such as the number of critic reviews. Of course, if one person reviews a movie and gives it a Rotten Tomato, then it has a 0%, but if one person reviews it and gives it a fresh, then it has a 100%. So you need a lot of reviews in order to have a much more comprehensive look. So in this case, they would test against the number of critic reviews, the number of popcorn meter votes for the same reason, and then the year the movie came out, which I don't know why that's relevant, but supposedly it is somehow. Then it was eventually passed to an editorial crew who would check all the minimum thresholds for each category to make sure that each movie on this list actually could qualify to be on the list. And that is how Godzilla -1 wound up being ranked the 19th best movie of all time. This opened up a lot of discussions about why it ranked that high as opposed to maybe Godzilla 1954, but I'll say I was just happy to see both King Kong and Godzilla represented in the list. King Kong's also in the list at 170th with King Kong 1933, and although in my opinion that is the most important movie of all time, it is the movie that basically birthed modern cinema, and as a result I will always rank it as the best movie of all time, even if it's not my favorite. I was happy to see Kong on this list. I was surprised that King Kong and Godzilla only had one entry each, as King Kong 2005 could easily rank on this list as well, and Godzilla 54 and Shin Godzilla could have ranked on this list. I was also unsurprised to see that this was not Toho's only movie on this list, and once again Godzilla got beat out just like he did all the way back in the day. Seven Samurai ranked number 4 with 100% critic reviews, beating out Godzilla -1, which ranked 19th with a 99% critic score. There were 207 critics who reviewed Godzilla -1, and Godzilla Godzilla Minus One has a 98% with over 5,000 audience reviews, but somehow Seven Samurai beat it out. I haven't seen that movie yet, which might lose me some street cred. I really should. It came out in 1954, also from Toho, also starring Takashi Kimura, and it's considered an all-time masterpiece. It's considered Toho's best movie. Many people consider it the best Japanese film ever made, and it ranked here accordingly the best Japanese film on this list. Either way, I'm sure Toho's very happy about that. Seven Samurai is the movie that came out alongside Godzilla back in the day and wound up beating it at all the awards shows back in 1954, and the two of them have basically been synonymous as the faces of Toho, so I'm very happy about that. Also, interestingly, Toho's article on the matter specifically says production of a new Godzilla film Yamazaki is officially greenlit. I know that's just a translation error, but I like the idea that that confirms that the title of the next Godzilla film is Yamazaki, as the way it reads is production of a new Godzilla film Yamazaki is officially greenlit. Obviously that's saying that Takashi Yamazaki is working on the next Toho Godzilla film, but again, it doesn't state whether it's a Godzilla Minus One sequel, so what's up with that? Probably will be, as we'll talk about in the next news and updates, and as I've been saying on the channel for months now. Anyways, why was Godzilla Minus One ranked there instead of Godzilla 54? Simply, I think it's because Godzilla 54 doesn't qualify. I don't think Godzilla 54 has enough critic reviews and audience reviews to be able to make this list, as it actually only has 78 critic reviews, so not even 100, which I'm probably gonna guess is the threshold. But even still, it ranks lower on Rotten Tomatoes than Godzilla Minus One, scoring a 94% critic review and a 89% audience review. It's a lot harder for older movies to score higher in the audience category. That's why Minus One ranked better. I know it upset some people that it ranked above 54, as a lot of people were like, 54 is not even part of this conversation. Where is it? It should be in this list instead of Minus One. And it led to a lot of discussion on, is Godzilla Minus One overrated? I would say that if it was ranked in a more objective standpoint and Godzilla Minus One still came out above 1954, despite all the technological problems that were overcome from the crew of Godzilla 1954, despite the sheer creativity of being able to be the people that invented Godzilla in the first place, and so many other reasons, if Godzilla Minus One still beat 54, I would be like, maybe it's a little overrated. But even still, I find both movies to be perfect films. I think that they are perfect right alongside each other. I'm a huge fan of both films. From my perspective, Godzilla Minus One is not overrated. It's simply being celebrated loud and proud in the modern day, whereas Godzilla 54 came out so long ago and everybody acknowledges it's a classic. But first of all, not everybody's seen it. Secondly, older movies are really hard to sell to newer, younger audiences. And then finally, Minus One's just the new guy on the block. It's exciting to celebrate the new project. I rank both right alongside each other. I think they're both perfect movies. I love both of them. Absolute 10 out of 10s in my book, and I don't think there's anything to be upset about there. Is it the best Godzilla movie ever made? Objectively, I guess you could probably say 54 beats out Minus One. I would say, like, from an editing standpoint and from a technical standpoint in terms of like the precision of the film and the craftsmanship, setting aside the technology being used, Minus One is probably a better movie. I don't know. You can discuss about it yourselves. I'm very curious to hear your guys' thoughts. That's just my perspective on the matter, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts down below. Okay, finally, the English novelization for Godzilla Minus One. We have a little bit of an update on it. It is announced that the English novelization for Godzilla Minus One is coming in September of 2025. It's actually on the Godzilla store right now. You can go buy it online right now, linked in the description below. The little description says, from the writer, visual effects supervisor, and director of the hit Godzilla Minus One movie comes the novelization, packed with even more action and story to celebrate Godzilla's 70th anniversary. In post-war Japan, the kaiju legend has become even more powerful and fearsome. Can a country in shambles withstand the might of Godzilla? This 320-page novelization is all English translated, with a paperback version on the ways from Seven Seas Entertainment. I have done many breakdowns on the Godzilla Minus One novelization. This is the Japanese version. I did get a comment asking what the pages look like. They look like this in the Japanese version. They very much read like screenplay pages. Very minimal descriptions other than a few stage directions. The entire book is almost entirely comprised of dialogue itself. In fact, it's not even a book where it says like, Shikishima says, Noriko responds, Noda quipped. It's just literally dialogue. I don't know how the Japanese novelization specifies who's talking, or how as a Japanese reader you'd know who's talking. I know who's talking because I've seen the movie. I could just instantly tell whose line was whose because it's pretty much the exact script of the film with just a few extended sections. But it didn't even specify who was speaking. So some changes are going to need to be made for the English version of this novelization. novelization anyway, so maybe that's why it's longer. Maybe that's why it's more like 320 pages, whereas this one is a brisk 188. They're not adding in 122 pages of content here. I guess it's more like 142 pages. They're not adding in 142 pages of content. Japanese, first of all, is a language that can be written in a lot less words, and secondly, they're gonna have to start specifying who's speaking when. I don't know how as a Japanese viewer you could figure it out. Unless I'm missing something, because I just don't read Japanese books, so I don't know how to read them. I didn't see any giveaways when I was doing translations myself, but I translated the thing myself. I'm very excited for that English novelization. I loved the Godzilla -1 novelization. Again, I have videos breaking it down on the channel. You should go check those out. They are very in-depth. And that is also where I'm going to leave you for this one. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all the support. It means so much to me. Big thank you to all my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the patrons on Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this in the first place for you. If you want to support the Patreon, you can use the link in the description below where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. And if that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. It goes a super long way towards helping this channel. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man out.